What's going on, everyone? This is Josh Haave. I am your host of Paradigm Shift. And today we are speaking with Megan Shapiro. She is a construction attorney helping construction leaders increase profits through proactive and strategic risk management. So I'm excited to really talk to her today. We've been chatting offline and on LinkedIn and other places, and been looking forward to this. So Megan, welcome. Why don't you give us a little background on who you are, what you do, and let's
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. So for all of your listeners and viewers, because I think you put this on YouTube too, this is my first go around. So I apologize in advance if I don't do it the right way.
This is your very first podcast?
Very first. So thank you for inviting me on, even though I have zero credentials for this. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am a full-time practicing attorney in California. I've been licensed and practicing since 2010, so almost 15 years now. It's kind of crazy. I sort of fell into the world of construction law. I, like a lot of people, went to law school to do criminal law because that's what we see, on TV and in the movies and everything. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to be a prosecutor like Jack McCoy. But of course, that's just not how it turned out. And I started at my firm, Shapiro, up in Sacramento in 2012 and sort of fell into what was a small construction practice at the time and fell in love with it. I was representing a concrete subcontractor and I uncovered a previously unknown passion and love for concrete and everything construction law. And from there, it was sort of game over. And I built out our construction law practice, or developed it to be more than what it was. Yeah. And from there, I have kind of ventured deeper into the world of construction law. I also teach at the UC Davis Continuing and Professional Education School's construction management program. I teach construction law and contracts there, co-teach that. And then in the last few months, I sort of looked around and said, you know what, I've been litigating all of these same issues for almost 15 years. There's got to be a better way. And so I sort of started developing what I call my proactive risk management strategy, where I tried to draw upon all of the experiences from the cases that I've litigated over the last 15 years and distilled it all down and put it all together and said, God, if we had been doing some of this stuff on the front end when we were in the contract negotiation phase of projects, then we could have done a lot of things differently to hopefully prevent ending up in litigation, or at a bare minimum, if we do end up in litigation, put ourselves in the best position possible to have a successful outcome. And so that's sort of what my passion is now on the side of practicing law. And that led me to my LinkedIn journey, which is how we met, Josh.
Yeah. No, I love it. First of all, was anyone in your family in construction, or your husband or anything? How did you?
Yeah, I mean, not really. My dad is a salesman at heart, and had been a salesman my entire life. But one journey on his sales path was working for Trimco, which some of you may have heard of, is the roofing material. So, but other than that, and he sold bricks for a while too. But I was a kid, so before I got into construction law, I didn't really have a personal tie to construction. But as fate would have it, I did meet my husband that way. So my husband is currently a superintendent for mechanical, and previously had been a project manager / superintendent for another one of my clients. And that is how we met. And although he doesn't work for my client anymore, he's still in the trades, has been in the trades, grew up in the trades. He was sort of that classic story of his dad was in HVAC and would take him with him to the job sites and sort of taught him from a young age as a little guy. And then he sort of grew into the office from the on the ground field work experience. So yeah, when I say I fell in love with construction and construction law, I mean it literally.
Yeah. Very cool. That's one of the reasons, the other thing you were talking about being proactive, when I first came across your profile, I was like, a lawyer that wants to be proactive and prevent litigation on the back end. Nice. I like
Yeah,
that.
one of my posts that was pretty popular. It started with "I don't want to be your lawyer," and that was pretty scary to post because I was like, man, that is like real risky. People could stop right there, right? They could see that and be like, okay, and not read further. But
Right.
my whole thing was, I'd rather be your compass than your shield, and I can do both, right? I can be your shield. I can litigate. I've been doing it for 15 years. I can do that,
Yeah.
but I think in the long run, it's just a much better strategy for everybody, for construction companies, for the leaders, even for the field guys,
Yeah.
to have that sort of compass, that navigator that takes you on that proactive journey to again try to prevent litigation because it never works out the way anybody thinks it's going to or wants it to. It's never the best path. And so if we can prevent it, great. But if not, at least, like I said, I would love to be your future attorney's best friend by putting you in the best possible position down the line if you end up in litigation to help them help you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you've kind of used your experience as an attorney, and you've got all these services and like risk management programs. I think you're working on a course too. Like, could you tell everybody? Let's plug your stuff here a little bit. Like,
Oh boy.
what are you what are you work? What's Megan Shapiro working on to some of the services that you're working on?
Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot because this whole journey started with the idea that I wanted to do sort of a digital online self study course, right? Because I'm only licensed in California, so I can represent construction companies in California. I can give the legal advice. I can do the litigation. I can do all of that. So, by the way, on the note of plugs, if you are a California construction company and you need an attorney, Radoslavich Shapiro, radshap.com. But I realized, sort of a lot of these concepts are universal, right? They're not specific to any one trade. They're not specific to any one state. And so I thought, what's the best way to get this message to the masses, at least in the United States and potentially abroad, although I don't have any personal experience with that. And I thought, doing a digital online self-study course is the path. And so I started to dig into that and start preparing to do that. And as I started learning everything that goes into that, I realized like I haven't done the groundwork in terms of like building an audience and creating those inroads so that I have people to say, hey, I've got this great answer for you. And so I kind of deviated from the path of writing the course and started building my audience. And that's what led me to my LinkedIn journey, really. And so I am working on releasing the course. It's slated for Q2 release. April 1st is the date that I've picked for myself, and now I'm putting it out there into the world. So I guess I really have to hold my own feet to the fire on that one. But yeah, it's gonna be an online course so that people can do self-study. And I'm sort of working through potential other options about what that could look like in terms of working together. I've received some messages through LinkedIn from people asking how we can work together before the course is ready. And so I'm exploring what that looks like. Doing coffee chats. I'm really excited about those. I've done many of them so far. I want to keep doing those. And that doesn't have anything to do with sales. The promise I make on the coffee chats is it's a pitch free zone, hopefully from both sides, but definitely from me. It's really just about getting to know the people in the LinkedIn world that we're interacting with all the time, on all these posts, but I want to know them on a deeper level, like, you and I and our conversation before the podcast. Yeah. And so I'm kind of doing it all.
What's that look like? What are the coffee chats? Are you doing it just on like Zoom or something, or?
Yeah. So, so I'm scheduling them through Zoom. I have a very cute coffee shop virtual background that I'm very proud of that I only use for the coffee chats. I'm cheap. And so I don't have the paid version of Zoom. So they're limited to about 40 minutes. And most people we've been cut off. And so I've apologized for that, but I think it's probably good because, as you can tell, I'm a little bit of a talker. So it's good to kind of have those built-in parameters, right? But and it's really just like a get to know each other on more of a one-on-one outside of the LinkedIn universe of like, yeah, we're commenting, we're posting, we're supporting each other. And that's all incredibly amazing and wonderful. But it doesn't give us an opportunity to really get to know the personal side of each other because it is LinkedIn, it's not Instagram or Facebook. And so the coffee chats are sort of an opportunity to make those real genuine connections. That's been the thing that's lit me up the most about getting really involved in LinkedIn. And so I thought the coffee chats would be a good way to do it. And so far it's been great.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. And I see, I think you just were quoted recently in Forbes, Very cool. Like what are some wasn't that on the topic of trends in the upcoming year? Like what do you put your Nostradamus hat on? Like what kind of trends are you seeing for this year?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I think the article was looking at 9 economic trends for businesses in
Okay.
2024.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you or any of your followers and listeners follow ITR economics, but they are phenomenal. I've been following ITR economics for many years now, since probably 2017, and they are obviously economists, and they have like an incredible track record. I don't want to. I don't want to mispitch them, so you can find them on LinkedIn too, or they have their own website and their own podcast called Trends Talk. But their record for accurate predictions when it comes to economic predictions is like through the roof. And so I've been following them for a long time, and that was sort of that is what I relied on in forming my opinion that I offered to Forbes magazine. And essentially, what they are predicting and what I agree with based on what I'm seeing in my own client base and in my own practice is 2024 is slowing down, right? I think we're already, I mean, we're not even February yet when we're recording. I don't know when you're going to release this, but
Yeah.
we're about to hit up in February, and it's already 2024 is already slowing down. We're seeing a lot more layoffs. We're seeing a lot of construction slowdowns, and that's going to continue in 2024 again, according to ITR. And it's going to be a slow year, but that's not necessarily bad news, because they're predicting that 2025 to 2030 are going to be big, big boom years. And that's going to be, heading into what's going to be another Great Depression in the early 30s. And so 2024 is a really great opportunity for strategic businesses, construction and otherwise, really, to invest this year. Take this slower time, invest in people, invest in processes, invest in trainings, invest so that you can build up and be ready for that boom instead of playing catch up. Like if you scale back in 2024, like so many companies are, then when we finally start to speed up again in 25 and 26, you're going to be playing catch up instead of being like right there ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be there. So those are the sort of trends that I'm seeing based on, again, ITR and my own observations, at least in the Northern California
Mhm.
area. I think it's right on.
Again, investing, being proactive. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Are you sensing a theme with me, Josh?
Yes, go pick up Megan's checklist even like to start and start. Yeah, I picked that up. I'm looking forward to the course, and yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Like we touched on LinkedIn, and that's how we connected. Any advice for you know construction professionals, contractors, even attorneys too in our industry? Like I've we just recently connected, but the community is like so amazing. Everyone's so helpful.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice for people like looking? Everyone seems to be looking for more community, especially after this whole COVID thing, like,
Yeah.
and especially, you're doing these personal coffee chats too. Like I'm hosting a coffee meetup group for contractors in Los Angeles. Um, and so I like real world stuff too.
Yeah.
I like to get offline every chance I get, but you know, online is great too. Otherwise, I wouldn't have connected with you, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I guess I'll get to my point. Like, do you have any advice for people? Like, how did you get started in LinkedIn and I don't know if you're on other social media or not, but
Yeah, so I'm a mom, and I only mention that because, like a lot of moms in my general age range, we're mostly on Facebook because that's sort of where all the moms congregate for mom support, with the exception, by the way, of Hannah Burns Dunham, who's on LinkedIn, and she's talking about mom issues. So if you're not connected with her, find her. She's great for mom stuff. But aside from her, really, in my experience, a lot of the moms are on Facebook. So I've been on Facebook forever and ever and ever. And I spent most of my time on Facebook. I actually went back when I decided to start getting active on LinkedIn. I went back to see, like, how long have I even had this thing? Because I knew I had one, but I was like,
yeah.
I'm not looking for a job. I've been at my firm since 2012. I'm not looking for a job. So I never go on there because LinkedIn's for job searching, right? So I got my LinkedIn, I think in like 2010 or 11, like right after I got my law license. And I checked and I posted exactly twice. Before September of 2023, I had posted twice in that entire time. Once was when my law firm was hiring, and once was when I started teaching at UC Davis and they announced it. So I shared it. And that was it. And I was really sleeping on LinkedIn. I didn't know how amazing the communities really are. Most of my connections on LinkedIn had been attorneys. And spoiler, attorneys do not know how to use LinkedIn. There are, of course, every rule is proven by the exception, right? So there are a few exceptions, but by and large, attorneys do not know how to use LinkedIn. And so I still, even when I would log on, I still wasn't seeing the community that is really out there, and the different types of communities. I mean, they spring up all around all sorts of industries, practice areas, trades, things like that, right? And there's so much community that I just wasn't aware of. But when I started on this digital course journey, I realized that my customer base is probably on LinkedIn more than Facebook. And so if I really wanted to sort of start building that up, I needed to be on LinkedIn. And I think that was a long-winded answer to get to your question, which is what tips do I have? And I think what I've kind of noticed is that I think a lot of construction leaders are there, but they're not necessarily interacting. I think they're doing a lot of like lurking. They're consuming, they're reading, but they're not engaging. They're not, hitting the like, they're not commenting, they're not posting, right? And so I think, for me, that would be my biggest tip is like jump in there. And I know it's scary. Maybe that's what's holding people back. I was terrified. Like that first post, I was just like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I got to do it. And I did it. And so it's scary and I totally get it. But I mean, it only took me, I think, maybe a month of posting until Lance Freer, I always say his last name wrong. I'm so sorry, Lance. If you see this, I'm just butchering your name. Maybe Josh can link it in the show notes. Furuyama, I suck. Forget it. Anyway, Lance found me, and he's sort of like the guru of the construction side of LinkedIn. And he found me from, I think the post that he saw was about imposter syndrome, actually. And through him, I sort of found my way into the rest of the community. And oh my God, it has been completely life-changing. And I'm not saying that lightly. Like I'm not being exaggerative. It's true. I mean, like the support of the people that are in this like construction content creator community on LinkedIn is amazing. I mean, they will just like bend over backwards to help guide you, to help lead you, to help support you. And it's like, I look back at how much time I was on LinkedIn, but not engaging. And I'm a little bummed because now it's like, I feel like I found my people, and I love getting on LinkedIn every day and just like hanging out and like chatting with people and seeing what everybody's bringing to the table for their content today. And it's amazing. And so my advice for construction leaders would be engage. Just do it. Just engage. And Jonathan Core, who does a lot of marketing for construction companies, talks about this almost every day. And I think his post today, or maybe yesterday, was actually 6 tips about how you can do your first post as a construction leader. So if you want to engage, but you don't know how, go find Jonathan Core. There are other creators too that are talking about marketing in construction, but he's the one that popped to top of mind. Just do it because you won't regret it. I mean, there's literally no downside. The worst thing that can happen is that you just don't get any engagement on your post, and then you can just go back to being a lurking wallflower, and it's no harm, no foul. But if you take a chance and you find your way into this community, it's a really special place to be.
Yeah, I hear you. Like, I know so many people that, they think, I don't have anything to say, or I'm not trying to, promote myself on social media, or, oh, look at me. It's not about that. It's building community. Like, I've connected with so many people, like-minded people. If you're looking for people of the same interests, like I was curious about lean construction here recently and made a post, and all these people came to help me and gave me all these great resources to look into. And we had amazing offline conversations. Like, everyone's there in every kind of industry. I love it. So can't say enough about just getting started. Like, just get started. And stop worrying about how many thumbs up or likes you get. Like, it's not, if you're worried about that, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So
absolutely. It's the quality, not the quantity. And it really is true when it comes to this community. I'd rather have no, I'd rather have no impressions, but have the conversations in the DMs instead, right? Because that's the real connection.
Yeah. Yep. Um, Man, I've got some final questions for you.
Okay, I'm ready. It's like Jeopardy.
I saw a post recently of yours where you were nerding out on World of Construction, but World of Concrete, excuse me.
Yeah.
But when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So there was like a hot second where I wanted to be a geologist. And
Mm,
as I'm saying that just right now, I'm wondering if maybe that's why I like concrete. I'll have to dig
okay.
into that with my therapist tomorrow. But I really truly was one of those kids who kind of always wanted to be a lawyer. I mean, really, I was like, I think 5 or 6 when I wanted to be a geologist. And
Yeah.
then after that, it was just, I was really that kid who just was like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. And that's all I really ever wanted to be. I did flirt with like teaching, which is no
Okay.
surprise that I have found ways to incorporate teaching into what I do now too, because I've always kind of had that passion for sharing with other people the things
Yeah.
that I've learned. But yet really, it's not a good answer. It's kind of boring. I just always wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow. I wanted to be a lawyer for a hot second, but it
Really?
never, but I feel like I ended up in where I'm supposed to be, but I still get to work with great lawyers on a daily basis. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. There was a show, and I don't even remember the name of it, but it was this lawyer, and he had his office in a bowling alley. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna
It
age
almost
myself.
sounds like Better Call Saul, but he was in a nail salon.
Yeah, this was oh God, 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
never mind. Next question. Um, Man, what is your least favorite thing about our industry?
Ooh, least favorite thing. I think it's probably, I'm gonna have to say the pace. And by that, what I mean is it's so like, it's just go, 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 go. Everything is an emergency. Everything is like on fire, responding, reacting. And it doesn't leave any time for, say it with me, everybody, proactive, right?
Mm,
So I think that's the thing for me is just, it's sort of this idea of like, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, take time to work on the business instead of working in the business. And I think construction is the industry that struggles with that the most because there's always fires. Law comes close. I will say law comes close. I deal with a lot of fires that prevent me from working on the business instead of in the business. But it's I think that's really what it is. It's the pace. I would prefer for it to be able to be a little bit more sort of proactive, more planned, less responsive, more, just like, okay, today's the day we're going to do these things. And I realize that's kind of a bit of a pipe dream when it comes to construction, but you asked the question and that's my answer.
all right. So, what's your favorite thing?
The people, the relationships, the camaraderie, the real like family feel and vibe to it. I mean, we've already touched on this with regard to the LinkedIn community, but even
Yeah.
in the construction community here locally, for me, the one that I'm actually a part of, it's exactly the same way. I mean, I've never experienced a sort of segment or sector group of people that are like that, like I have with construction. Like they are just genuine. They're invested in everybody they interact with. They want to see everybody around them succeed. It's almost like they all have that ingrained like a rising tide lifts all boats sort of mentality. And I think that's why when I sort of fell into construction law at the firm, I was like, this is it. This is it. Game over. I'm in, sold, because the relationships that I developed with my clients was like that from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
it's hasn't wavered in the last 15 years. I mean, everybody I interact with, it's like that supportive family vibe. And I love it.
I hear you. Yeah. Otherwise, why why are we doing this? Like
Yeah.
that's what I've been in the industry my entire life, but I just like love the camaraderie and the teamwork of building something together. Like physically building something amazing. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right. I hate to put you on the spot, but if you could just pick one thing, I'm sure you have numerous things that you can think of, but if you just could pick one, what is there like a book or a mentor or something that's really had a really big impact in your life?
Yeah, so I'm going to say there have been a few because I feel like I've had pivotal moments that have been pivotal moments in my life that have been really have changed the course of things, and I can really tie each one of those moments to specific things. So I've got a few. I think the first real big change that I had in my life directionally was in 2017, and I'm a big believer that when the student is ready, the master will appear. Right, like this concept of the universe puts things in our path when we're ready for them. The timing is cosmically right, and in 2017, I was going through a lot personally and professionally, and I just so happened to find like a Facebook ad for a retreat in Arizona for female attorneys. And I want to say, I think it was actually for partners, for female partners at law firms. And I had just made partner here at the firm. And I was kind of like, man, I was like 33, 32, 33. I was young. I was like, oh God, I need something. And so I went to my other partners and I said, hey, I want to go to this retreat. Like I got to figure this out. I got to figure out how to be a good partner for you guys. So they sent me to the retreat, and Heather Hubbard was the woman who put on the retreat. She's still an executive coach, and the retreat was amazing, but Heather is amazing, and I ended up signing up for her year-long mastermind. So for all of 2018, I did her mastermind coaching program, and it was, transformative, pivotal. All of the things, right? So I would say the retreat / working with Heather, finding Heather Hubbard at that point in time, that was definitely one big one. Another big one, I think, and this sounds so cheesy, especially considering how much we've already talked about this on in this conversation on this podcast, but really truly finally like just hitting send on LinkedIn and like just putting myself out there, because like I said, I think my first post was in like September, but I didn't start really doing it actively every day until January 1st. It was my like, I'm going to do it every day for 2024. So it's been a short period of time, but like who I am now versus who I was in November, for example, is wildly different. Just wildly different. It's been transformative and amazing. I think that coupled with turning 40, I turned 40 in November of 2023, so just a couple months ago. And you probably have heard this. They say, I don't know if this is like, they say this to only women who are turning 40 or if this is just a general turning 40, but they say that like once you turn 40, you stop caring. I was going to cuss, but I don't know if we're supposed to cuss on this podcast, but you stop caring. And for me, it was like totally true. Like overnight, I was like, I don't really care what other people think anymore. Like I'm just going to be me and I'm just going to do it. And like, it's okay to not be for everybody. Like, I've been told, I'm sure you have gotten this vibe from this conversation and our last conversation. Like I'm kind of a lot. And I've been told that all my life, that like I'm a lot. And I always received that pretty negatively. And I tried to kind of like tone myself down. And there was something about turning 40 where I was like, F that. You know what? Like maybe I am a lot, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't have to be for everybody. And maybe I'm just the right amount for the right people. And I need to stop caring about what the people that I'm not the right person for, what they think. And I just have to be me and be authentic. And like the people that I'm the right amount for are going to appreciate that. And they're going to find me and they're going to love and support me. And so that's exactly what's happened. And so I no longer feel compelled to sort of like hide my bushel, what's that phrase? Hide my light in my bushel, whatever that phrase is. Like I just am who I am, and I can't really be anybody else, and that's okay.
Authentically you. That's all you can be, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think someone told me the other day, I'm old enough to know better, but also old enough to say what the hell? Let's see what happens.
Yes.
So well,
Love it.
I know we're short on time and taking over your lunch here. So, but I really truly appreciate jumping on here with me and love chatting. We're gonna have other chats here coming
Yes,
up. So.
definitely. I told you I'm considering actually driving down for your coffee chat meetup in LA.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm jealous that you're doing it like in person. My Zoom coffee chats are great, but like, man, in person, that's even better.
Maybe we're gonna have to do some up in Northern California too.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Lance is up here too. He's in the Bay, so we could do like a somewhere in the middle kind of situation.
Very cool. Well, Megan, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So LinkedIn, I'm at Construction Risk Strategist. My law firm website is radshap.com, radshap.com. My website is Megan Shapiro, my name, MEGANSHAPIRO.com. I'm kind of everywhere, really. So
Okay.
I'm easy to
Cool.
find, I think. I think I'm
Yeah.
like the main Megan Shapiro if you just Google my name. There's, I think, an accountant somewhere, but she's not super active. So
Gotcha.
I'm easy to find.
Cool. We'll put the links in the show notes. And thank you, everyone. Thanks, Megan.
Thank
See you
you.
guys soon. Take care.
Bye.